basketball as conference season is here, as the Chargers will start off against the Argos of the University of West Florida. We weren't on yesterday due to Alabama basketball, and that was nearly a nightmare after a fantastic start. But nonetheless, Alabama gets it done against Clemson, and the SEC once again beats the ACC in the SEC-ACC Challenge. Wes Neighbors, he's back in the studios, the plush studios of 97.7 ESPN The Zone. How are you, Wes?
Doing good.
Well, it is rainy, miserable, and cold down here on the beach. All the factors that you want when a beach visit, right?
Well, I guess, yeah.
Well, yeah, it just kind of is what it is.
It's better if you're on the beach, if you're going to the beach.
That's true. We are not on the beach on this visit. We're a little inland, but still inside the field house. We've got a very busy show in store for you today. Coming up in hour number 2, Jordy Arman will be in studio with you, Wes, and we'll dive into a little bit of National Signing Day with our man who's Mr. National Signing Day. And we'll also talk to Corey Reamer from the Crimson Tide Sports Network as Alabama preps for Georgia. And on the subject of Alabama, Georgia, we do need to get the Georgia perspective. And there's only one person who can do that for us. That would be Barbara Dooley. Barbara Dooley is going to join us later on here in this first hour. But Reese Davis is right around the corner, coming up in about 10 minutes' time. So no vote happened yesterday in terms of the SCORE Act, but it is something that Commissioner Sankey did address to the media earlier today. Here is what the commissioner had to say on the SCORE Act.
I was in D.C. yesterday, had productive meetings with lawmakers and members of the administration. I'll just flat say I appreciate the willingness of many on both sides of the aisle in both houses and in the administration to continue to engage in conversation on the important issues present in college athletics. There was an opportunity to vote yesterday in the House. It did not happen. We'll continue in our educational efforts. We're going to take the time needed to try to address the questions that are being asked by members of Congress. And again, this is on both sides of the aisle. And the fact that there's so much interest, I think, is an indication of the serious nature of college sports, the importance to our nation, our culture. Yep, the opportunities for Olympians to be recruited to our campuses, to be developed as people and as athletes on our campuses, to be educated, to be supported, to be trained, to return to our campuses as part of the Olympic support program. We do that well. We don't simply put that on advertisements. We actually do that on our 16 campuses on a daily basis. We added over 1,200 scholarships since the NCAA rules changed in the Southeastern Conference, none of those in the sport of football, and over 60% of those to women's sports.
So that part right there is, I watched way too much C-SPAN on Monday, Wes, and that was in a direct point made by one of the congresswomen up on D.C. about women's sports. And I understood exactly why Commissioner Sankey said that part, because those are facts. Now, Chip Roy, congressman from Texas, his district is really in between San Antonio and Austin. He had a lot to say on the hearing on Monday. Here is a portion of what he had to say.
The thing is we've lost this whole thing. We don't have college athletics. It's a joke. Like, we've destroyed college athletics. We have minor league sports, particularly football, to some degrees basketball, but particularly football, masquerading as collegiate, using university brands and trading off of the sensibilities and the nostalgia of alumni. That's what we have. The massive profit centers using monopoly brands with trademarks that gouge the holy hell out of the average consumer. That's what we've created. And I respect immensely the efforts by the committee to try to address the crap show that we currently see that is college athletics. And I respect a lot of the steps taken to try to create a national standard out of the haphazard mess after the court with respect to NIL and what we're having to deal with now that the horses are out of the barn. I am frustrated because I do not believe this rule should proceed, and I have not yet debated on or reached a conclusion on how I'm going to vote on the rule because I'm frustrated, because this should be able to be amended by the body. It's a complicated issue that involves, with all respect, more members than sit on the committee. And this is the classic kind of bill that should be able to be amended. I sit here having not submitted amendments. I try not to typically, as a Rules Committee member, to sort of lead the charge on amendments. But it's notable that this is the Monday after Thanksgiving. I don't believe in coincidences. I believe this bill is designed to get through, have a rule this week, and push it through with the forces of, with all respect to my friends at Texas and A&M, the SEC, and the Big Ten, and a handful of others, the ACC, my undergraduate alma mater. With all respect, they're pushing this hard.
That is just a portion, and he went on for about 13 minutes. And Wes, I'm telling you, it's compelling to hear him. It really is. Have you heard the this in particular from Congressman Chip Roy?
I've heard parts of it, but not the part you just played, and I don't know exactly where he's going with this. Right? I mean, he sounds like he's just complaining about the sport. I mean, we're trying to fix it.
He further gets into the fact that the public institutions are on, for the most part, donated land, and the dirt has value. And then he goes into these buyouts for these coaches, the ridiculous nature of these buyouts for these coaches, and even the contracts that these bigger conferences has with the likes of Fox and ABC and ESPN. So, I mean, but what does that have to do with anything? I mean, what we're trying to do is put guardrails up where they can make their own decisions on what they're going to do. You know, all this money goes to the university. It's not like, you look what Coach Saban brought in. What did Coach Saban bring? I mean, these are public institutions, but they're being run in a way where the football has helped all these schools grow. The money coming in for football. So I think he's lost in the weeds. When I listen to him, he's totally lost in the weeds. What we need to do is give the control back to the universities where they can put some guardrails up and have their own rules, the same rules for everybody. We're not talking about the rules just for the Southeastern Conference. Mm-hmm. The schools are getting killed right now are the little schools, the schools in the Gulf South Conference. And what's going to happen to them is they're going to be gone. I predict they're all having money trouble now. Yeah.
I mean, this needs the NCAA. That's why I wanted to play. But what he's saying, he's lost in the minutia too.
That's the problem. And that is the problem. That's why I started with what Commissioner Sankey had to say, because there was a congresswoman as well who all she wanted to talk about was football, and then dove into opportunities in Title IX. And that's why I played that part from Greg Sankey earlier today, where if you really dive into it and look at the problem, that is not the problem. It isn't. And once again, we're relying on D.C. to solve this issue. And, of course, they didn't have a vote yesterday. I don't think they're going to have a vote anytime soon because of rants like this from Congressman Chip Roy.
Well, I mean, just because one guy rants doesn't mean anything.
It was bipartisan. It was Chip Roy and Frank Pallone, who both were in a bipartisan criticism of the SCORE Act. They're talking about ripping apart conferences and making their own conferences. I wanted to.
Well, even
I'm
they
serious.
can't do that. Yeah. So, I don't know. I didn't have much. I don't have much confidence in these people. I don't know how anybody can at this point.
I just wanted to play that because I was trying to figure out a way to play it.
But you were saying he made some good points. What points did you agree with?
So I'll play it when we've got time a little bit later on. I'll play a portion of it later that I was like, okay, that's interesting, an interesting different way to look at it. But I'm agreeing with you where football has created these opportunities at these universities.
Well,
and is it broken?
Football,
I think we can all agree that it's broken.
Well, it's broken in the fact that they can't make their own decisions. They get sued about everything.
Yes.
So if they want to put it back in to put guardrails on it and let the people that let their own universities and that are on public land. Who cares if they're on public land or not? I mean, somehow all those guys they're up on public land up there are making hundreds of millions of dollars somehow on $150,000 salary. So I mean that's hard to put as well. But they get to govern themselves. There's no governing body that can do anything in the NCAA now without getting sued. That's all they're trying to do is keep from getting spending all day in court. And the only reason they're getting sued is that because they started making too much money. That's what's happened. The TV, and I told you that 8 years ago, that there's so much money that when you start making a certain amount of money, here come the lawsuits because you're a target. And that's what's happened.
We do need to take our first time out. Reese Davis is going to join us next, and we'll talk to him about maybe the Nick Saban issue that was brought up by our boy Lane on Monday during his introduction there down in the Bayou. We'll talk to the host of Game Day next, right here on The Drive.
You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Remember, don't try this at home, kids. I am a professional.
Tuesday, December 16th, we want you to help us celebrate the holidays by helping the Marines Toys for Tots Foundation. All you have to do is bring an unwrapped toy to Field Day, located off of University Drive on Tuesday, December 16th.
Welcome to the party, pal!
We'll have food and live broadcasts of the Tom Abraham Show, plus The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton.
1 year membership in the Jelly of the Month Club.
Clark, that's the gift that keeps on giving the whole year.
That it is, Edward.
It's the perfect way to celebrate the holidays by helping the Marines Toys for Tots Foundation, presented by Talent Heating and Air. The party starts at 5 p.m.
Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas from 97.7 ESPN The Zone, Talent Heating and Air, and Toys for Tots. We'll see you on the 16th.
Look, Daddy, teacher says every time a bell rings, an angel gets his wings.
That's right. That's right.
Since 1983, Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate's Ann Adams has been your local go-to real estate expert in the area. As a buyer, you can trust Ann's in-depth knowledge of the local housing market to narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in, saving you time when shopping for a new home. When you're ready to sell, Ann's expert negotiation skills will ensure you get a fair price and hassle-free experience. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or email annadamsrise@gmail.com. The company is Eagle Masonry and Insulation, but did you know they're also Eagle Landscaping and Dirt Work? Eagle can take care of all your landscaping needs, including irrigation, sod work, and planting, both plants and trees. On the dirt work side, Eagle can grade and build your pads, haul dirt in or out, and even do erosion control. Philip Love and his team can do it all for you. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
I'm here with Stan McDonald of Jacob Title. Stan, I've heard that every real estate closing at Jacob Title is a very big deal. Why is that?
Wes, I'm reminded of a very impactful statement that I heard from Coach Gene Stallings years ago when he talked about big games and little games. He said he didn't like that comparison. He says, because try losing one of those little games. And if you ever do, it ends up being the biggest game all year long. Well, it's the same thing with real estate closings. Every game, every closing is a very big deal at Jacob Title. Because when it's your closing and your contract on the line, it's a very big deal, and we understand that at Jacob Title.
So it sounds like whether your client is a first-time residential buyer or a multi-million-dollar investor, they can expect your A game.
That's exactly right. As a matter of fact, when you bring your real estate closing to us at Jacob Title, we understand it's all about trust and confidence. And when Stan McDonald tells you that a chicken dips snuff, you can look under his wing for the box.
And like Beebs likes to say, there's no doubt about it.
There's power in caring when it is put into action. Each year, our bankers serve on nonprofit boards, support our local educators, and volunteer with our hometown food bank. I'm Bobby Humphrey, Vice President of Business Development for Bryan Bank, and community service is just not a line item in our mission statement. It's who we are. Because after all, Alabama is our home too. That kind of commitment to community might not be what you would expect from a bank, but it's exactly what you can expect from us. Give us a call or stop by one of our 2 offices in the Huntsville area and experience unbeatable service and legendary results.
Bryan Bank Equal Housing Lender, NMLS ID 2428943, member FDIC. This segment of The Drive is brought to you by Woody Anderson Ford, located online at woodyAndersonFord.com with 2 locations, Hughes Road in Madison and Jordan Lane in Huntsville.
Coming up in hour number 2, we'll talk to Corey Reamer from the Crimson Tide Sports Network, and later on here in this first hour, the First Lady of Georgia football, Barbara Dooley. Who can precede Barbara Dooley? Reese Davis from ESPN. Reese, I'm almost afraid to ask, what's new?
Everything's going great. I'm just honored to be on the same program with Barbara Dooley, who is a wonderful human being and got a great personality. So I'm sorry I'm not going to be on at the same time that she's on.
Well, we could probably arrange that if you want to stick around, Reese.
Well, that's all right, but I appreciate it.
Well, I guess the elephant in the room is what happened Monday with Lane giving Nick a shout out. I'm not sure if he wanted that or not. How are you going to handle this on Saturday, Reese?
Straightforward and with honesty, the way we handle everything on College Game Day. I mean,
are you going to take your shirt off too?
Yeah. This is nobody wants to see that, Wes. This is a tempest in a teapot because, I mean, find me a coaching search in the last 10 years where the AD, the coaches involved, an assistant, someone in an agency didn't call Nick Saban. And by the way, you're derelict in your duties if you don't, especially if you worked for him. So, we need to address it, and we'll do so with honesty and integrity because that's the only way Nick would have it. But, this is nothing. I mean, he's consulted on every coaching search there is, in an unofficial capacity. And you know what? I mean, all of us do. Wes, you probably get calls. I got a call today, and about somebody that's, that's part of a search. Now, if Reese Davis, who, all I do is host College Game Day, if I get calls asking about people, you don't think Nick Saban gets hundreds of them? Of course he does. And people would be dumb not to use that resource because he's the greatest to ever do it. So, Lane could have done him a favor because that should have been a private conversation in my judgment.
Yes.
But that's between the two of them. And now that it's out, I mean, people should know this is not unusual, man. You call people that you trust and that you've worked for and have a relationship with when you are making career decisions.
Especially people that have been there before. But it was like, to me, it was like Lane was using that as an excuse for what he did.
I agree with 100%. I agree with you. I thought it was a little weak sauce to give the old, Pete Carroll, Nick Saban, Ed O, whoever else. You're 50, man. You're 50 years old. You made a choice. Stand up and own it. And, I agree with you on that 100%.
Well, you guys right there in Atlanta, tell me what you think of the matchup there, Georgia and Alabama, Part 2.
I was reliably informed that once the SEC expanded and once Nick Saban retired, that everything was going to be different in the SEC. Why is that not happening? I mean, apparently it's the same. Apparently Kirby Smart's still at Georgia and they still win a lot. And apparently Kalen DeBoer still knows what he's doing. And Alabama's continuing to win a lot. But, kidding aside, I think it'll be a great game. The one thing that gets a little bit overlooked here is the SEC's like the Big 12 last year. There was a 4-way tie for first, and these two won the tiebreaker. And, it's because they played the most difficult schedules within the conference. So I think it'll be a great matchup. These two know each other well. I know Alabama's had their number, and that's something that will be a storyline going into the game for sure. And it should be, because it's very frustrating to Georgia fans, and I'm sure to Georgia people within the football organization. But it also has zero to do
with the game.
It should have,
100%.
Yeah, it has zero to do with this game. And
but that's not really true, Reese. I don't think it's in their mind.
I will say this: you get to the end. If it's close, there could be the old little bit tightening up. Oh no, we can't let this happen again. I get that. I understand that. But I mean, in terms of some kind of hex on them, I doubt they have that. But Alabama's got a really good team. They can beat them again, and certainly Georgia. I thought Georgia was sort of ascending. I don't think they played their best game against Georgia Tech, but Georgia Tech had been embarrassed, I think, the week before with the way the Yellow Jackets played against Pittsburgh, and rivalry game, and they played their tails off, man. They played hard, and and Georgia probably didn't score as effectively and finish drives and all of that as they didn't throw the ball as much. But I still think Georgia's on the upswing and is a threat to win the national championship.
Well, Reese, I'm gonna say this: that beginning of the year, Georgia's offensive line was not very experienced and didn't play very well at times, and they struggled. Then all through the year, they got better every game. And that's where they were running the ball. They were killing people. Well, three of those guys got hurt, and then they put a right tackle barely play. I believe I could have got by him at least one play. I mean, he didn't really know what to do. And then the guy that was hurt, they put him back in and were able to seal the victory. That's where the problem is. If the offensive line losing their center,
Drew Bobo.
Who was
a big deal.
Yes, it is a big deal. Getting them on the right thing, and then the other two guys being out, they weren't the same team. They had trouble running the ball, and when that happens, and passing the ball, and so what we are seeing now is why the SEC last year struggled in the playoffs is because everybody is hurt. You look at Alabama; there are 8 guys going to be out for this game.
Yeah, it's and some that are really important.
100%. Yes.
Scrimmage. I mean, I don't know. Is LC Overton ruled out, or
yeah, he's out.
Questionable. He's out. Okay. Well, he made the biggest defensive play of the game. The first time these two teams played. So you got Bobo out. You got the guy that made the biggest play of the game out. It's that's going to be a storyline. It's a bit of a battle of attrition. Someone asked me today earlier, if Alabama were to win, would they move all the way up to 4, and would they want to? My contention is for the fans and the surrounding atmosphere, the best case scenario for Alabama would be to win and move to number 5, so that they could get a home game. But to your point about the injuries, this may be a case where both of these teams really need to win to get a bye to help them in the playoff.
Well, I think so too. I totally agree with that. I mean, a win here is going to be huge. I'm still so frustrated with this committee stuff, Reese, and it's so easy to me when you look at teams, and the first, if you have somebody with 2 losses, another team with 2 losses, head to head. If you beat them head to head, there's no decision between those 2 teams. In my mind,
I understand where you're coming from, and it's perfectly reasonable. It's a reasonable position to take, but I think my view on it is this: for 100 years or more, we've basically ordered teams based on number of losses, and we've wanted to say, okay, let's take some other components into consideration. That's why we have a committee to employ some subjectivity. And if home field is worth 3 points, that's exactly the number of points that Miami won by against Notre Dame. I see what you're saying, and it's not wrong. I don't disagree with it, but I don't have a problem if there's a committee member who says, that was a long time ago, they're better. I'll give you another example, Wes. I have zero problem with Oklahoma being ranked ahead of Alabama.
Me neither.
Alabama's better than them. But so I also have no problem if a committee member employed that logic and said, you know what, I know Alabama handed them the game, the 3 turnovers, and Oklahoma forced some of them. Some of them were just, kind of poor play. I have zero problem if they say that, because that's what I believe. I believe Alabama's better than Oklahoma, but because I also think when the game was played, I think the recency of it sort of commands Oklahoma being ranked ahead. On my AP ballot right now, I have Oklahoma ahead of Alabama, but I've got Notre Dame ahead of Miami because I happen to think Notre Dame's one of the 4 or 5 best teams in the country. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but you have to put some of the objectivity into it. But if it went purely subjectively, watching them play, where their strengths are, where their explosive capabilities are, how the quarterback's improved, if you press me, who's better than Notre Dame, I'd probably say Ohio State. I'm not sure Indiana. I think Indiana's really good, but I think Notre Dame and Indiana are comparable. That's just how I see it. I also think that when Miami is playing at its best, they're as good as anybody and can win the national championship too.
Well, to me, though, that they talk about now strength of record, which I don't know who made that up, and then you got all these other matrix they're talking about. But it's I'm going to use Alabama for example. Have a bad loss. Nobody could ever say it was. Actually, I thought Florida State was in their first 4 games was one of the top teams in the country. They've proven me wrong since that, but were playing like it at the time. But you look at strength of schedule. So you look at Notre Dame's strength of schedule's 30-something. They have 2 losses. Alabama's strength of schedule is 8. They beat 4 top-ranked teams in a row. It's never been done before.
I agree with you. I'm not arguing that.
Yeah. So
I've even said, Wes, that I think unlike a lot of years with Alabama, because Alabama's a lightning rod because they've won so much, but a lot of years with Alabama, even though if the resume, so to speak, was good, it wasn't really the resume. It was like, are you serious? Watch them play. Look at those guys. Clearly they're one of the 4 best teams back then. This year, I think it's almost the opposite. It's not that they aren't good. It's not that you don't watch them and say that's a good team. They are. But it's almost as if the thing that's really carrying Alabama is the pace. The exception of, they've got the worst loss of the bunch. But the funny thing is that, like, I wish I had the stat right in front of me. They're like, all of the teams that, outgained all of their opponents except one by 40 plus yards or something. All of them are playoff teams except Florida State, who's like 5-7. I think this was the week before the Florida game that this stat came up. And, so I'm not trying to make excuses for that loss. It turned out to be a bad loss. It's a stain on the resume. But I got a kick out of somebody put on Twitter, I think it was actually one of my media colleagues said, Notre Dame immediately goes out and schedules Auburn, for strength of schedule after the committee sort of bragged on the Auburn win. And the retort was, if Notre Dame played Auburn 25 times, or 12 times rather, they'd have the number 1 schedule in the country. So that's the thing.
It's a great line.
That is a great line. Yeah.
And they would, and that was like mathematical. That wasn't like, being, they're better than you think. They the person who responded just did the math. Said, okay, you want to play them? You play them every week, and you'd have the best schedule in the country. So it's this is a subjective thing to a degree. I don't think this year, unlike last year, where there were you had to fill out the rest of the 12-team field, to me, with teams that were less objectionable than others. And as much as, SEC people might not like to hear this, I thought all three of the SEC teams a year ago had done things that were disqualifying to be a playoff team. And I didn't mind where they landed. I thought it was fine. If anybody had a gripe, it was probably Miami or BYU. It wasn't the three SEC teams. But, this year, what you have is a glut of teams who haven't done anything that is disqualifying. And if you try to view what Alabama did with the loss to FSU as disqualifying, a very easy counter are the two things you've brought up: the consecutive games against ranked opponents and the top 10 schedule in the country. So, it's nobody has done anything disqualifying this season among those teams, and there aren't enough spots to fill them.
Reese, the only thing I would like to add is this audit that did take place, I just didn't realize the eye test was going to be as big of a deal as it is.
Well, but why do you want a committee then? Everybody really complained when it was just objective. I mean, everybody said, we need some common sense in this. Remember 2000 when Miami beat Florida State, yet they had the same record, yet Florida State went to the national championship game? People said, somebody needs to apply some human eyes and common sense. So basically what happens is when the committee doesn't agree with a person's perception, they immediately start yelling bias, or these people don't watch games, which is, by the way, the most idiotic take of all. Just say you don't agree with them because they watch. You may not agree with that. I do think that sometimes the explanations, particularly on Tuesday night, they try a little too hard to prove they watched the game. And we know that. The court will stipulate that you saw Alabama run the ball better and get a 17-0
lead. Why did he say that? Alabama ran the ball better. That's why we moved in front of Notre Dame.
That's what I mean. That can't be a reason.
No,
that can't be.
You're right.
That can't be a factor. It has to be more what you saw in the field and how it impacted the discussion and the results in the room. It can't be a game recap, because if it's a game recap, you could do that for every team in the country.
Absolutely.
And you could also find all kinds of things that went wrong for the team that you're touting. So it's I wish they would stop trying to prove they watched the games. We believe that. We know they do.
Yeah.
And if you think they don't, then you're a knucklehead. They watch the game.
Yeah. Reese, well, we have to put a pin in this for now. We will definitely be watching Sunday at 11 a.m. Central Time. So have a good weekend and safe travels to you there in Atlanta. And always appreciate the time, sir.
All right, guys. Have a great one. See you later.
Take care of that dog.
Yeah. Let's go. Yeah. We'll get to Mutual of Omaha, continuing that conversation another day. All right, let's go ahead and take our final time out. Barbara Dooley, with my sincere apologies, as we're going to come to her a little bit later than initially planned, but we'll talk to the First Lady of Georgia football next, right here on The Drive, as I'm choking.
You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Hey folks, Don Wessel's back again for Woody Anderson Ford. And let me tell you, if you've been thinking about a new Ford, now really is the best time to buy. It's the Ford year-end sales event, and we're rolling out some of the biggest savings of the year. Right now, drive home a 2025 F-150 with financing as low as 0% for 60 months. And make no payments for 90 days. That's right, 0% and no payments till spring on America's best-selling truck. And Woody Anderson Ford has over 140 F-150s to choose from. Plus, it doesn't stop there. We've got incredible deals across the entire Ford lineup. Explorer, Escape, Bronco Sport, Edge, Mustang, even the legendary Bronco. Whether you need capability, comfort, or pure fun behind the wheel, Woody Anderson Ford has the perfect ride waiting for you. It's our year-end sales event with no payments for 90 days on over 140 F-150s. Plus, 0% for 60 months. With approved credit, offer ends January 5th. Come on in to Woody Anderson Ford. I'm Don Wessels, and we hope to see you soon.
The holidays are here, and so is the holiday pizzazz at Loring & Company Fine Jewelers. At Loring & Company, they know this season is all about family, time, and meaningful connections. And when it comes to finding that perfect gift, they make it easy, enjoyable, and unforgettable. Step into a sparkling world of the world's most desired jewelry brands, all in one place. Their friendly, experienced staff is ready to help you discover something extraordinary. Whether you're shopping for a spouse, a parent, a child, or treating yourself to a little festive shine, finding the right gift doesn't have to be stressful. At Loring & Company Fine Jewelers, it's a pleasure. They'll help you choose a piece that says exactly what you want it to say, beautifully. This holiday season, let the Loring family welcome you into theirs. Visit Loring & Company Fine Jewelers at 800 Airport Road in Huntsville and shop anytime at loringjewelers.com. Add a little holiday pizzazz to your celebrations at Loring & Company Fine Jewelers.
Firehawk Aerospace is a non-traditional defense contractor advancing the state of propulsion to strengthen the U.S. Defense Initiative. Founded in 2019, Firehawk Aerospace established early leadership in manufactured propulsion with the development of 3D printed hybrid rocket fuel grains. Visit firehawkaerospace.com to learn more. That's firehawkaerospace.com.
Tom Abraham here for my friend Mike Owen at Owen Home Appliance Center. Are those new school clothes wearing out that old washer and dryer? Well, it's time to get off the bus at Owen Home Appliance Center and learn what a new Speed Queen washer can do for you. They're in stock and are ready for delivery now. At Owen Home Appliance Center, quality products, quality pricing, quality service. It's right there in the name, Owen Home Appliance Center. 2 locations to serve you, Highway 36 in Somerville and the interactive location at Highway 231 in Lacey Springs, just 8 miles south of the river.
At Mr. Sparky, we're America's on-time electrician. Flickering lights and hot switches can be annoying, but they can also signal a major problem, or worse, an electrical emergency. So play it safe and leave it to the experts at Mr. Sparky. Trust our team of professional, clean, and friendly electricians. We'll get it done right and get it done safely.
You don't have to put up with any malarkey. Call 888-8-SPARKY.
Independently owned and operated, licensed in the respective state or county.
Talking ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond. Weekday mornings beginning at 7 a.m. only on 97.7 ESPN and the 97.7 ESPN The Zone app.
It is the drive here on a Thursday. Really appreciate Reese Davis for hopping in on what is championship weekend. It is Georgia and Alabama. The coverage from the Crimson Tide Sports Network will begin at high noon on Saturday, and then we get yet another edition of the Dogs and the Tide, this time for an SEC championship, in which this is the 5th time these two teams have squared off, and one thing has happened in particular in all of those games, and Wes knows exactly what I'm talking about. Alabama's won all those games. In fact, trying to cipher through all of these games, it was the game in Indianapolis in which the last time Georgia beat Alabama, and that led Wes to find out last time that Georgia beat Alabama in the state of Georgia. You want to share with the class?
Was it 2002 or
2003?
Okay.
2003. That'd be the last time that Georgia defeated Alabama. So that would have been Franchione, maybe, or was that Shula's first year back in 2003?
Sure. Yeah, it's all dark.
I will happily look that up if you'd like me to. That is the first year of Mike Shula there.
Was that in overtime too? No, it was overtime. They won in Tuscaloosa.
It was 37-23 was the final score of that game in between the hedges there at Sanford Stadium. So that would have been, of course, Mr. Nice Guy in terms of Mark Richt as the head coach of the Georgia Bulldogs against their first-year head coach back in 2003. Alabama went 4-9 that year. Oh, wow. Dave Rader. That's a name I haven't heard in a long time. He was the offensive coordinator, and the defensive coordinator was Joe Kimes for the Alabama Crimson Tide. Let's talk to Barbara Dooley right now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. How are you today, this evening, man? Did I mishear you, John?
No, we got her. She was saying she was at the grocery store, but she should be
I'm
there.
here.
There you
I'm
are.
here.
Outstanding, outstanding. So, well, what's for dinner then? I mean, come on, you just can't tease us like that.
May I say there's no dinner? I go to the grocery store and play like I'm eating and just go home.
How have you been? It's been too long.
I am doing great. Thank you very much for asking me. It's taken me a while, but all is well. I'm good. I'm healthy, and I'm still talking.
Outstanding, outstanding. Well, another Alabama-Georgia week is here. And I know we've talked to you in the past on a particular big win that the late, great Vince Dooley had against Bear Bryant back in the day.
He did, and you know what? I think about that a lot because it was so much fun. But nobody gave us a chance, and I remember the first year he was the head coach, he played Alabama in Tuscaloosa, and they beat us 33 to 3 or 30-3, or anyway, he came home and he crawled in bed, and I never listened to it. I went, and so how'd it go? And he went, excuse me, how did it go? I said, yeah. He said, you didn't listen to it? I said, heck no, I wasn't going to listen to that game. And he said, well, Coach Bryant kicked my you-know-what. But he said, we'll be ready next year. And next year we were ready. That was the flea flicker. Do you remember that?
Well, I remember you talking about it, ma'am.
Yeah,
I do.
Yeah.
And your conversation with Bear Bryant about that win making him in Athens.
Yeah, that's right. We were at the SEC meeting, and Coach Bryant was sitting by his pool with the entourage that he always roamed with. And I was a 24-year-old sassy, and we had just beat Coach Bryant in October, and the meeting was in May, and I walked up to him and I said, "Hiya, Bear, how you doing?" And he jumped up from his seat like I had stuck a lightning rod in him, and he pointed his finger at me and he said, "Young lady, I don't want you to ever forget I'm the man that's made your husband famous."
Oh, that's hilarious. That's great.
He was
fantastic.
He was wonderful. He lit up a room when he went into it, let me tell you.
From a recruiting standpoint, how much did you get involved in recruiting, ma'am?
I was involved very much at first. We hosted all the kids over to our house to eat. This was before we had any money in the athletic department. So I was cooking, I was serving, I was talking to the mamas and the daddies, and I did that for about 10 years. And you know what? I miss it. I miss knowing those guys. I miss their families. I miss the connections we used to have. Recruiting is not like that anymore at all. And it's just such a big operation. And I asked one of the coaches now that the NIL is intact, I said, where are you heading? He said, I'm going recruiting. I said, why in the heck are you recruiting? Just take a checkbook, write them a check. I mean, what's the big deal now? So
I've heard as much from Miss Terry on of course, they hosted a bunch of parties, but hearing that from Nick about it being so transactional now.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly what it is. And it's so sad. But you know what's so interesting? It's like if you are really a football fan, you have watched this game complete a half of a circle that is really bad. It started out with teams that college kids played, that fans came from all over your state. They went to school there, they pulled for their team, and these kids grew up wanting to play for that team. And it's no longer that way. Coaches used to stay put. Think about Coach Bryant, how many offers he had, and he didn't leave Alabama. I can tell you that Vince Dooley had 5 big offers. Well, they weren't like they are today, but they were big
for the
us.
time, right?
And there was no way we were leaving. In fact, one of the offers came from our alma mater, Auburn, before we won the national championship. And Vince turned it down because coaches like Bear Bryant and Vince Dooley and Bobby Bowden and all the great coaches, they were there not only to earn a living, but they were there to change kids. They were there to teach commitment and temperance and to teach so many things. But now it's just all about money, and it breaks my heart. It really does.
Ms. Dooley, so all my sons are in coaching, and I look back on my experiences, and I played at Alabama, and was in Coach Bryant's last class, so I was really close with him and the class and all the class from all the coaches. But now, and when you went to school, I saw guys that got hurt and they paid for their school. I saw guys that, maybe got a little hurt and didn't ever perform very well after they got hurt, and they'd keep them on the team. Well, I was talking to some coaches today. Well, they're going to start cutting these players that are making all this money that aren't performing, and that's what's next. And that's going, and then it's what it is minor league football. That's all it is.
It is. That's what it is. Exactly. So it's nothing like when the Sabins started coaching and the Dudleys started coaching. It's just a whole different ball game. And coaches today leave. I mean, to think that Kiffin is once again, who said he had changed, he had found home in Mississippi, and he had been saved, and he had family, and he was so happy. And to find this wonderful, happy guy leaving for $90 million, leaving his team that he's been with, who could possibly be in the national championship arena. It's heartbreaking. And think about the kids. So you can't really blame them from hopping from team to team in the portal. Their coaches are not giving them any examples.
It is. It's a broken system. It really is. If I gave you if you could fix it, how would you fix it?
You know what I'd do? I'd put a few women in charge.
Yeah.
Well.
I'm going to tell you, we'd get the damn thing straightened out in no time.
Well, I'm not arguing with you. The problem has to be that there's nobody can be in control if they're allowed just to. If you make a rule, they just sue you in court, and some judge makes a decision on what you can do and not can do. And you look at a judge in Tennessee's made it where you can have 6 years of eligibility.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. So, what has to happen is it has to come without some kind of getting an exemption like the NFL has, where they are allowed to antitrust to allow to control their own members. Then nothing's ever going to be able to be done.
Well, I think something's going to be coming down the pipeline. This cannot keep going like it is. It just can't. I don't know what the future will hold for it. I really don't. I don't know how many alumni we're going to keep. I mean, they're putting out a lot of money.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
has it affected you watching games? Are you watching just as many games, or has it affected you wanting to watch college football?
No, it hadn't yet, but it's getting close. It's really getting close. But I'm still watching like a fool.
Well, Georgia keeps winning. That Kirby fella keeps putting out quality teams.
You know, I hate to jump out on a ledge, but I just think we've got a coach that's not going to leave us. I don't care if they offer him $100 million. I think he's got too much character.
Yeah, and he preaches that. He's preaching that they shouldn't be leaving, and he's living it. You know, I agree with you.
You know, here's my situation mentally. When you're making $50 million a year at a school, and a school offers you 90, what the hell are you going to do with that extra? I mean, that's so much money. You can't spend it. You're just going to be worrying about it. I don't understand that.
Well, you know, I don't think I think the money they paid him is just part of it. I think he left because of the resources in Louisiana, as far as recruiting, and also the amount of NIL money they promised him. So now I'm not defending Lane in the way he left or what the things he said, kind of blaming it on Coach Saban that he left. I mean, and not taking ownership,
that's right.
in the way he left this team. I'm not, all that bothers me like you would never believe. But I think that's the reason that he really left.
Well, no matter, he could have left
100%
more differently.
Yeah, it'd be hard to do it any worse, in my opinion.
Yeah. If you look at his track record, he left Tennessee in the middle of the night. He left California in the middle of the night. I mean, he's left teams.
Well, yeah, he left Alabama. I mean, they fired him before the last game. He did such a bad job the game before, and then FAU he kind of left in the middle of the night there. Now at USC, they fired him on the tarmac.
Yeah.
And you remember he was at the Oakland Raiders when and
Al
Davis
had that press conference.
That was bad. So, I think to argue that he's immature would be wouldn't take long.
Well, good for you. You've got a great attitude.
Well, what's that old saying? The more things change, the more they stay the same. Just
That's
like
right.
we get Alabama, Georgia for another SEC championship game, and boy, Alabama came out blazing back in late September, and Georgia nearly got it back in the second half. What do you think of this matchup on Saturday, Miss Dooley?
I really think Georgia's going to get it. I think our defense, well, let me say, our defense has improved 100% since the first game this year. But we have lost the most important person on our offensive line, Drew Bobo. So that is a key position, as you know. So I don't know, because we haven't played without Drew. And the young man that's coming in to take his place has only played a few snaps. So I don't know if that's going to affect Gunner or not. But if he plays well, we have a great chance of winning. And
well, your memory is as sharp as a tack, because that first game one, back on September 19th of 1964 was 31-30.
Oh, no, it wasn't. No, it was not. No.
That's what's in front of me. No, back in 64 for Coach Dooley's first game at Denny Stadium.
You said it's 34-30?
31-3. 31-3.
You said 31-30.
Did I really? I'm sorry. 31-3. I'm sorry. I misspoke.
31-3. That's exactly right.
Well,
and I had to ask how to go. Not good.
See, because I bet Larry Munson wasn't on the call back in '64, was he?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I'm trying to think who it was. I was so young. I don't remember, but it wasn't Larry.
Yeah, I know. I want to say 67 was Munson's first year.
I think it was, or 68, somewhere in there. Yeah.
Yeah. Had way too many conversations with Larry Munson back in the day, ma'am.
Oh, I had a ton of conversations with Larry.
So, Ms. Dooley, were the wives close back in that day? The head coaches' wives? Who were some of your favorite?
All of them. They were great. But let me tell you a funny thing. We decided that we were going to wear uniforms, so we wouldn't have to worry about what we were going to wear every week. And so we all got material and got to the sewing machines. I mean, we were all poor as dirt mouse. And so we made these red dresses, and we took them and had them monogrammed with our initials in black across the front. They were really cute. And when we'd go to the games, people thought we were part of the band.
I don't think that was the intended effect, was it?
Oh, we laughed. But we had such fun together. Yeah, we all did. That first, there's nothing like your first coaching staff. And Vince's brother was on it, Brother Bill.
That's right.
He was the offensive coordinator. And Irk Russell was the defensive coordinator.
Wow.
We had a great staff. Great staff.
Well,
I'm so blessed to have so many fabulous, fabulous memories. But it just makes me want more, and they ain't there.
We sincerely appreciate the time that you always give us, and it's so much fun to catch up with you each and every time, ma'am.
Thank you. Anytime, give me a call.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I still want to know. Go Dogs. Absolutely. Can I get a Go Dogs out of you there, Wes?
Yeah, I'll tell you where they can go.
All right, that's the Georgia perspective. She is just the absolute best. That was a great question as well. There was. I had no idea that she was part of the band for starting there.
It's so interesting how it's changed so much. And,
yes.
But you look at Coach Saban, he recruited the same way, had him to his house. That's the way he did it. And that's why all of them do it now that played for him.
All right, Corey Reamer and some guy named Drudy Arman will join us next.
By now, you know about Eagle Masonry and Insulation, and maybe you know that Eagle also does landscaping and dirt work. But how about after paint work? Shower doors, shelving, and mirrors, all taken care of by Eagle, the same Eagle that takes care of all your masonry, insulation, and landscaping needs. Eagle brings the same level of expertise to all these disciplines, and they're ready to provide you with a free quote. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
Alabama, Georgia for the SEC title again.
And Alabama is headed to Atlanta again and play that.
It's the Crimson Tide and the Bulldogs for the SEC title. Live from Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia. Join us at noon this Saturday on your home for Alabama football.
Your home of the Alabama Crimson Tide is 97.7 ESPN The Zone. WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. A massive matchup for Moulton kicking off NFL Week 14. Lions host the Cowboys tonight. Both teams in the hunt in the NFC. Detroit a game and a half out of the final NFC wildcard spot. Dallas is 2 back. And the most important person in this matchup, not necessarily a player, according to ESPN NFL analyst Dan Orlovsky.
Kelvin Shepard is the DC for Detroit. You can't line up and play man. Will you change? Will you play some zone? I would challenge Dallas to run the football and then try to play elite red zone defense. Does Brian Schottenheimer want to hand it off 40 times? I'm not letting you throw it that much if I'm Detroit. But if Detroit wants to line up and be who they are, I'm gonna throw it 40 times because you can't cover it.
Dan Orlovsky on Unsportsmanlike. Detroit receiver Amon-Ra St. Brown active tonight despite an ankle injury. Injured O-lineman Penei Sewell, Taylor Decker, and Graham Glasgow all set to play. Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson didn't practice today due to that ankle injury. Team believes he will play against the Steelers Sunday with the AFC North lead on the line. Vikings quarterback J.J. McCarthy cleared concussion protocol, his final step in returning to start in time Sunday against the Commanders. Eagles defensive tackle Jalen Carter out Monday night against the Chargers after undergoing a procedure on both shoulders. He is week to week. NBA Lakers point guard Luka Doncic won't play tonight in Toronto because of personal reasons. Guard Marcus Smart out due to lower back injury management. Alabama football coach Kalen DeBoer denies interest in the Penn State head coaching job. He's been among those linked to the Nittany Lions vacancy.
Hey, it's Evan Cohen. Coming up Friday, we'll react to the Cowboys and Lions and get you ready for the College Football Championship weekend. It's on Sportsmanlike 6 a.m. Eastern right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
.97.7 ESPN The Zone. Welcome to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, 256-576-4977.
That's how I roll. And I'm not going to drink and drive anymore.
That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Wes and Steve.
Hour number 2 scoreboard update for you. Second quarter with 2.5 minutes left to go. It is UAH up over West Florida, 22-17 on the women's side. We might have some bonus coverage for you here in about 45 minutes or so, as Drudy Arman is there in studio with Wes Neighbors. And Drew, it's always good to catch up with you. How are you today, sir?
They're currently talking right now. I don't know. They don't
have
the cams
course.
on. They don't even have the cams on.
Yeah.
You know, they always got it.
Silly me. Just trying to host a program over here. Silly me.
He's good.
You guys good over there now? Yeah, you good?
Yeah, we're good. We were just talking about Lane Liar.
Liar Lane. Got it. And you thought it was the Urban Liar.
Well, you know, he always has. You know the Newhart show, your other brother, Daryl. That's basically what Lane is.
Well, before we get Corey Reamer into the conversation, tell me a little bit about National Signing Day yesterday. What were your big takeaways yesterday, Drew?
Well, you know, Alabama kept everybody of significance. The biggest loss was J.J. Finch from Warren Central in Indianapolis. He ended up flipping to Tennessee, but they were able to replace him with Malik Franklin from Daphne High School, who played for Kenny King, who was a great story. I mean, he didn't start a high school game till his senior year, and he grew from 6'2" to 6'6". He went from a backup offensive tackle to a starting defensive end, and he didn't play any defense till he was a senior. And he was a quick study because, as Kenny King told my good friend Grodney Orr, his first game we knew it was going to work because he had 10 tackles and 2 sacks. And then from there, he had 98 tackles and broke the school record for sacks in a season, which I think is 11, and he probably broke his coach's record because Kenny, as people will remember, was a pretty good football player at Daphne and was a 4-year starter at Alabama and then played 5 years in the NFL. So they've been able to, they lost Ja'Vari Barnett to Illinois, a running back. That's another NIL situation. They lost Owen Cabell to Jared Curtis, and then now I guess you could say, the best way to put it, I guess, is they're the hottest program in the country maybe right now, Vanderbilt. They've become now a have and not a have not because of NIL and the changing landscape, and they get Jared Curtis to flip from your Dogs, and he stayed home, and Owen Cabell is now going to stay home because now they've got some donors contributing money to the NIL pool, and so they got Owen, and Alabama also lost Brian Williams, but Brian Williams was already out of the plans. He was going to flip to Alex Golish in South Florida, but ended up going to Auburn because Alex Golish went to Auburn. So Alabama, they're still looking at Sam Gash's son, who will sign in February. He decommitted from Michigan State. I was hoping he would sign with Alabama in the early period, in this period, but it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. But he's a speed receiver. They probably needed one more receiver because they lost Cabell and they lost Williams, but they did still get C.D. Morgan, who is maybe arguably the top prospect in the state of Alabama, along with Xavier Crowell, the running back. And so they've still got Crowell. And then just as I was on my way in, you know how this stuff changes quickly, but and it's not Huntsville, Alabama, it's Huntsville, Texas, but Alabama added a running back, and he's going to, he was a kid that was headed to Boise State, who they had him as a contingency just in case they lost Ja'Vari Barnett, which they did, and Trayshawn Brown, who his story sounds similar to Josh Jacobs. He didn't go to any camps. He had 1,400 yards and I think 17 TDs his senior year, and he's about 5'10", 190, and a lot of similarities between the height and weight. And he averaged over 8 yards a carry, and he's going to sign. He just signed with Alabama, so he's the second running back in the class. And so they're still waiting on Bryson Cooley, an offensive tackle from Laurel, Mississippi, who they thought was going to sign yesterday. Then it was thought he would sign today, and he was trying to decide. He'd been committed to LSU and had reopened his recruitment, and it looked like he might go to Mississippi State, but Alabama came in hard with him, and Alabama felt good yesterday. They felt good this morning, so they may get Bryson Cooley. We'll see, but certainly Alabama is going to end up signing 22 to 23 players and have a top 10 class.
Let's bring in Corey Reamer from the Crimson Tide Sports Network as well here on The Drive. How are you, Corey?
What's going on, guys? I'm doing good. How about y'all?
Trying to cipher through a busy first week in December more than anything, Corey.
Yeah, no kidding. You're going through all this recruiting stuff right now. It's just weird. I know it's been going on for a while, but I still can't get adjusted to it. Just not what I grew up doing or how it was when I was coming out, which is, I know it's ancient times, long time ago, but man, there's a lot of moving parts right now.
Well, and Corey, you're making me feel old because I loved it back then, man. I've been following it since I was a kid. But boy, you're right. It's changed so much. And the February date used to be like everybody taking a day off and, it's like a national holiday. That's not the case anymore. And even the early signing period, because of so many early enrollees, has completely changed because of the transfer portal. There's just recruiting. You hit the nail on the head. It's now very strange in a way.
It is. I mean, it's still, I still love the fact that we've still got high school. It's a game-changing, it's a life-changing day for a lot of kids out of high school. And at first, when the transfer portal opened up, and I was worried about what it was going to be like for high school kids. I know there's still plenty of them that are getting recruited, but if their experience was just going to change a lot. But today's, it's a fun day, but I do remember that February, we probably had 10 or 15 guys at Hoover in my senior class that signed scholarships to go play football at a next level. And how much fun it was for all of us to be in one room and get to celebrate together what experience it was. And it's definitely not the same I'm not a, get off my lawn kind of guy. Things are obviously going to change and as part of it, but it's with the coaching changes this week, signing day going on and everything else, trying to figure out if we're going to make the playoffs. It's been like you said, busy first week of December.
Well, and also it's state championship week. Thompson, the dynasty continues there. You know something about high school football dynasties there back in the day at Hoover.
Yeah, those. The funny thing is Rush Probst is back in the Super 7 at Texas
You know what
Stadium.
I'm putting down. I hear you.
Playing. Got his Coosa Christian team that's going to be playing tomorrow, and we've got some good family friends that have their son plays quarterback and for the Coosa Christian football team, and so I'm excited for him. But Rush has found his way back home in a state championship game in the state of Alabama. It's kind of crazy to think about, but yeah, it's there's a lot going on. We had our 20-year high school reunion this year back in August, and we did a dinner with all our football players. I know, hard to believe, 20 years, and it was just so much fun to sit there and reminisce, and then all the guys that did go on to play at the next level, everybody had the same message. It's this was just the best time was high school football and being able to play in first week of December in the state of Alabama.
So what was playing for Rush Probst like? What made him such a he seems like an elite coach. Obviously, he wins everywhere he goes.
He does, but he also knows how to surround himself with some really good coaches. The staff that we had my senior year at Hoover, it consisted of Todd Watson as a defensive coordinator who went on to coach down at Foley with Julio and then ended up coaching at Troy and coached at, ended up at Alabama. And Jeremy Pruitt was our, DB's coach in high school, and they went and found him out of Plainview and brought him into Hoover, and he went on to, obviously everybody knows his story. And Matt Moore, who was our offensive line coach, who was just, I'm not sure exactly where he's at now, but he was the offensive line coach for West Virginia last year. He was on Neil Brown's staff at Troy. It was just, that's what made him so good. He knew what his strengths were. He was a great CEO, managed, to put together a phenomenal staff around him. And then he was one of the best motivators, in terms of trying to get the best out of the high school kids that you could possibly get. And he knew Tony Franklin, which is a throwback name for some people. I don't know if anybody remembers him, but he was a part of that Hal Mummy coaching staff at Kentucky. And Tony Franklin used to come in every year and install our offense. And he was just always on the cutting edge doing RPOs back in 2003, 2002. And he knows, 30 plus years of coaching football. He knows a lot about it.
No doubt about that, Corey. And to switch gears to Alabama, as you said, this is a kind of a week of a little bit of anxiety. Certainly it was great to beat Auburn and win 6 in a row. It's been the first time since the 1970s that they've done that. And certainly hats off to Kalen DeBoer and the staff. But now they're fighting through injury, through sickness, and you get a rematch with Georgia. First time they played them twice since 2021. Much like the rematch in that situation, Alabama's got they're a banged-up football team. I know Georgia is too. But your thoughts on going into the matchup and Alabama, it looks like with the college football playoff rankings, especially if they can get some help from Texas Tech, that they could be in regardless, but still need to play well on Saturday.
Oh, man. Yeah, this is, I know Georgia fans have anxiety seeing Alabama,
right.
be the team that they've got to face in the SEC championship. But I guarantee you Alabama fans have just as much anxiety. I know the record has been really good against Georgia over the last 10 games, but still, it presents itself as being you're playing a Kirby Smart coach team, a very talented team, and a team that's honestly been trending in a pretty good direction. Obviously last week, though, is something to pay attention to, the way that they looked against Georgia Tech. But there's still, Gunnar Stockton has come a long way since we played him earlier in the year. He's improved. Their offensive line has done well, but they're banged up. This is just a part of the season where you're fighting through injuries, and you just got to find a way to your next guy's got to step up and fill that role. But LT Overton being out on the front line for us. And the good news is we've played so many people at all these different position groups all year long that we have created depth throughout this season, whether it's, you wanted to or not, you kind of had to, because we had certain, Jam Miller goes out in the early part of the season, opens the door for a lot of other running backs to get a lot of playing time. You hope Kevin Riley comes back. And I was really hoping he was going to be able to play last week against Auburn, because I think, the week that he had and the game that he had against Eastern Illinois, it just shows how dynamic of a back he is. And you wonder why he has not been finding the field for us, because he just brings such a different element than a Daniel Hill and a Richard Young and a Jam Miller. You need that kind of 1-2 punch out of your running backs. And the three that I just mentioned are kind of all very similar. But Daniel Hill's been improving and running downhill he's bringing the pop, running the football lately. And so hopefully he'll be able to fill Jam's shoes after Jam just had one of his better games of the season. But feels like we got some pretty good, idea of what our offensive line is going to look like. Michael Carroll has really emerged himself as that right tackle, and he plays really well. He's a young guy that really didn't know the playbook early on and couldn't trust him to be out there for every single snap, but he's obviously very talented, and it shows, these last couple of weeks, he's earned a lot more snaps, and that's got to feel good if you're a coaching staff. And if you're Ty Simpson, finally get some continuity across the front line, with Parker Brailsford coming back after missing a week with injury as well. But hopefully you got to find a way to get healthy really quick, because this game is not waiting for anybody, and both sides of the football are dealing with it. And it's part of, early December football, and you got to be ready to go. And you win this ball game, take all the, take it out of the hands of the committee, earn yourself in, you control your destiny, as we all, you've heard 1,000 times. Go out there and win this football game where they don't have to sit there and wonder if they are going to keep Alabama in or if they're going to boot them.
Well, Corey, on the subject of availability, I was intrigued to see Jam Miller listed as questionable. Likewise for Josh Cuevas. Tell me what you think, but I think those are two big pieces. Dewberry is also on the list, as is Danny Lewis Jr., but Jam being on there and Josh Cuevas is intriguing to me. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, I hope it's not just for show. It's make another team prepare for everybody. Don't show your cards too early. And I'm hopeful that Josh Cuevas is back. That's the one that I think is kind of a huge difference maker out of all the guys that we have out. Josh Cuevas is the number one guy. If you could ask me who I could have back for this game, it would be Josh Cuevas. And what he does as an inline blocker, as a split out tight end, and his threat in the passing game, he is so dynamic. He's an NFL caliber tight end. And we know Georgia is very accustomed to having really good tight ends, and they do again this year. But that is a weapon that presents so many issues for a defense when you are trying to figure out who is going to be covering him. And the way that he is able to help out in the blocking, in the run game, I really hope he's able to go. He was in a boot last week on the sideline, not even dressed out for Auburn, but I hope something's changed drastically for this week.
So when did he get hurt? Did he get hurt in the Oklahoma game?
I think it was during practice leading up to the Eastern Illinois game, is from what I understand. I don't remember or recall a play in any game that he got hurt. I'm pretty sure it was during practice.
So we've all seen quite a bit of Alabama, but not from your perspective, Corey. Well, what is the biggest difference you see between Alabama in the first half to Alabama in the second half?
That is that's the most question that I don't even know if I have an answer to, because it is. Especially when we come out the first drive of every second half on defense, it's like we just need another drive to settle back in but it's been that way all season. We've just, not really come out and asserted ourselves and caused a lot of 3-and-outs right out of the chute. And I don't know what the reason is. You come out of the locker room, you're listening to the message, you hear Kane Womack make those adjustments that he wants to make, and these guys are fired up, ready to go. The players are all saying the right things and sending the right message. Let's go out there and take care of business and squash any hope of this team being in this ball game. And then all of a sudden you comes out and you give up, 3 or 7 points in the first drive. It's one of the most frustrating things, and I know it is for this defensive unit as well. But all that being said, this is the unit that has been carrying this team for the last half of this season, and really for a lot of this season, they've been playing extremely well, and continue to improve week in and week out. Even if they are giving up a lot of yardage, they're able to keep teams out of the end zone. And I think that's kind of the mentality of the philosophy of this defense is, we might give up some chunk plays in between the 20s, but when it comes down to it, we're not going to allow big plays to happen, and we're going to get guys on the ground, and we're going to live to fight another play, and we're going to force them to kick a field goal and keep points off the board, and they've been successful. It's been this group has definitely improved, and Bray Hubbard is one of those guys that
just makes plays, all over the field.
He has got a head all over the field. He was sick last week. I don't know how many snaps he ended up taking, but I didn't even know this until towards the end of the game that the reason he wasn't out there very much is I think he was battling some illness during the week. And even, with the limited snaps that he got, he made the biggest impact out of everybody on that side of the ball.
And Corey, speaking of that, though, it's been confirmed that today that unfortunately the injury report continues to grow. LT Overton, who was huge in the first game, will be out, and so will Kelby Collins, the transfer from Florida via Gardendale High School. So now that you get even deeper into the depth chart, I would think guys like Jordan Renaud and Keon Keeley will have to play a bigger role on Saturday.
Yeah, the good news is that you got Quay Russaw back.
That too,
he didn't
yes.
play very much. He's back, and the emergence of Yanze Pierre has. I don't think it could be understated how much of an impact he's made on this season, and probably not the star that we expected to have on this football team this year. But he has definitely emerged as one of the best players on that side of the ball. And it's almost to a point where he's playing so well and becoming such a factor on defense that it's hard for Quay Russaw to find snaps. And, now with LT Overton out, you're probably going to see a lot more of what I used to call our nickel rabbits and dime rabbits, where you've got some more edge rushing pressure, out there at the same time, even if it's not an obvious, pass down situations, those guys are just going to have to fill this role. And James Smith is continuing to play at a high level, and Tim Keenan the third. Those two guys are going to play a lot more snaps now, but you're right. Renaud and Keon Keeley, those guys are playmakers. They just haven't been those guys that have been required to play on every down. They've come in as more of a specialty type situation, but all of them will probably see more snaps than they're used to make up for what LT Overton, the void that he leaves, because he's a dynamic player that can play, an inside 3 technique and an outside wide 5. And it takes a couple guys. It's probably going to take 1 or 2 different people to kind of fill those positions that he's been able to, play this year. It's a huge miss. And I know I saw the injury report yesterday or the day before, and it's like, man, this is going to be tough to overcome. But like I said, there's been a lot of players that have gotten a lot of snaps this year that probably weren't expected to, but they've stepped up when they need it. And now it's, a place that we love to go play in a game that we all know means so much for us and for the rest of the season. And I think we'll be ready to go. There's 80 something guys with scholarships. We're going to find somebody that's going to get out there and make an impact for us.
Corey, I had a chance to talk to Deontay Lawson earlier in the week and the availabilities for the players via Zoom, and I asked him to speak to his journey because he's been there just been there through the duration. And I was fascinated by his answer. I don't know if you heard it, but he mentioned about last year being more of a player-led team and this year being more of a coach-led team. Do you see that as well?
Yeah, I didn't hear the interview, but I will definitely go back and listen to it. Is seeing what I see on it reminds me. This team reminds me of, and I don't take this the wrong way because I think this team is definitely from an outcome standpoint is playing a lot better, but it is a little bit less vocal from a player standpoint, especially at halftime. You got a lot of guys that Tim Keenan's kind of that voice on the defensive side, and not many other people are really voicing their opinions or being very vocal outside of Tim on the defensive side, especially at halftime when you're going back out there. So I would agree with that. But you've got, I don't know if y'all have seen Coach Ballou, the strength and conditioning coach that's there, but he
I have
doesn't
not.
have to say very much. He is a guy that is one of the more intimidating people that I've ever run across, and he's a guy that's very vocal. Coach DeBoer has really stepped up in terms of his vocal leadership and getting these guys motivated, getting them to go. But 2010 was, they had a lot of really good players, but not a lot of good vocal leadership in 2010. And this team kind of reminds me of that. They're loaded with talent. There's no Rolando McClains that are out there that are, and Ty has done a really good job of kind of picking up some of that slack. But when you got guys like Ryan Grubb, Coach Cap, and Kay Womack, and we've got a lot of coaches that have stepped their game up and being kind of the leadership group and challenging these guys to continue to play at a level that they haven't played at yet. And I think that's the encouraging thing for this team is we haven't had a complete game all season. I don't know when it's going to happen, if it's going to happen. You hope that this part of the year is where they find, both sides of the ball complement each other extremely well, and you play one of your better, games all around, because that's been the message. And I think that's been the challenge since the first game from this coaching staff is we know how good you can be. We want the world to see it, and we haven't seen it yet. And hopefully, through this stretch when it matters the most, they find that kind of rhythm. After the last few weeks, it just hasn't been as good as what we saw throughout the middle part of the season. I think there's still plenty of room for improvement for us.
Considering what you've invested in the program and now part of the Crimson Tide Sports Network, there's been a lot of conversations about championship weekend. And listen, I'm as big of an SEC fan as the next guy, but I want to know from your opinion of seeing the likes of Vanderbilt try to create a game this week and create some value of their own. What do you think of the value of championship weekend here in 2025 when everybody's so focused on the playoffs?
Yeah, I understand. Everybody that I've heard that said, I wish we wouldn't play in the SEC championship, I shake my head. But the two that I was fortunate enough to get to go play in was kind of a quasi national championship. Anyways, we played Florida in 2008 and Florida in 2009. But I think that's the standard that this conference has created, and I think that it still holds true. Like the team that wins this conference, there's still a lot of pride to be had in saying that you won an SEC championship. And I don't think for a second I heard somebody mentioning, what does Georgia decide to do? Because they're obviously the one that is locked in to the playoff. And is there a chance that we see Kirby pull starters if the game's not going the way that he wants to, and just kind of resting his guys and preventing injuries from happening? And I was like, there is no chance. There is absolutely zero chance. And that there's no way in hell is Kirby Smart or Kalen DeBoer throwing this game for the likes of playing in the college football playoff and preserving a team. But that might just be me. He might have a different opinion. Again, this is one of my favorite games as a player. This meant so much to everybody in that locker room, just to be able to get there. I know we've kind of been there a bunch over the last 15 years, but I think it's still very important to these guys. You just see how much of a gauntlet it is to play the regular season in this conference and to say that you were the best in it. I don't think there's anybody who's overlooking this one.
And you made Tebow cry. I mean, come on now. I mean,
and we made Tebow cry. These moments are the best. I mean, this is just a special game. It's a phenomenal environment, and you get to make him cry and send him packing. I was on the other side of it too, though, so it's I can't talk too much. We gave away that game with a lead in the fourth quarter in 2008. So I think these guys are pumped about this.
Yeah, I'll just tell you, Julio Jones is a grown man, and he had my favorite quote, and I'll paraphrase it. Tim Tebow is a great player, but we're tired of him.
Julio doesn't say much, but when he does,
it's like E.F. Hutton. Yeah. Totally, Julio, the man.
Corey, I can't thank you enough for the time and the breakdown, and we will certainly be listening on Saturday at high noon right here. Appreciate the time, sir.
Thank you, Corey.
Hey, appreciate you guys. Roll Tide. See you.
And I got to tell you something, too, Steve, about Corey Reamer and his signing day and everything. He was a self-made player like Summerall, okay? He was a guy that tore his ACL and had to kind of reinvent himself, and was a defensive back that grew into a linebacker. And he ended up starting for Saban because he was one of the smartest guys in the room. I'm actually sort of surprised he didn't go into coaching. But he and John Summerall, their careers were very similar.
You can hear the passion. I mean, when you get very specific on the questions with him, you can hear how much he has invested in that program. And he is so good on the sidelines as well.
And I'll just let you know about Rush. They're playing Lynette tomorrow.
Ooh.
But there's some heavy rumors out there that he's headed back to South Georgia after the game. So I believe he already has his retirement in Alabama. So he probably needs a few more years in Georgia. And we know
I don't think that's going to happen.
Well, I don't know, Steve. We're hearing there's some smoke.
Uh-oh.
I mean, I think there could be a school stepping up, and he's already mentioned that he's got family back in South Georgia. And look, man, he's a winner, and he's polarizing, but he's as you heard Corey Reamer, he's very charismatic. He knows how to win. I think he's going to win a state championship at Coosa. And remember, he was interim coach there before he went to Pell City for a year and then came back to Coosa.
That's right.
So I wouldn't be surprised if he's lined something up back in South Georgia. He didn't give a school, and the article didn't mention one, but I think there's maybe a job opening where Rush could end up landing on his feet. I've always said that. I mean, Rush always lands on his feet, no matter what. And and I know we've and especially yourself has gotten to know him pretty well, and he's had a really just a roller coaster of a career, just the ups and the downs. But the one thing you can say, and as Corey said, he's won everywhere he's been, and he's and at the highest level. I mean, I know he was only at Pell City for a year, but think about it. Nick Gentry, former Alabama defensive lineman, took over for him, and they made the playoffs this year. So he left it better than he found it, and then he's gone to Coosa and kept them rolling. Now, they've made a couple of state championship games and not won it. This could be their first. So,
well, the fact that Corey just talked about having their 20-year anniversary,
I feel like an old
reunion.
SOB now.
I'm telling you, John Parker Wilson, can you hear us? I mean, come on.
I feel like I was watching two-a-days like a month ago. And Rush is on the phone. Yeah, I want the UAB job. Sure. Just sitting there, they got that microphone on him, and he's walking away from the practice field trying to get the UAB job. I mean, oh my goodness.
I mean, do I really need to play it? I mean,
you scholarship worthy. You know who holds that key?
Ding.
Who do you think holds that key? Ding. Me.
I really felt like playing it for Corey. I had it set and ready to go. I really felt like playing after he went to the 20-year reunion. I was like, you know what? I got to play the dang me.
Well, and I still remember like it was yesterday, you know, that's and I've used this line on my show many times, beat the piss out of him.
Well, we appreciate you not going Brooks Austin on us here this evening.
That wasn't me. And we couldn't dump it because of the stream, man, because of Scott being remote. And Brooks, he just got into a zone where he was outside of his body because he texted me right after the show, Steve. Right after he got off, he goes, "Hey, man, I thought you could say ass on the radio." I said, "You can. I did today. But you just said that what you said, that, you know, that Brother Hughes full of bleep."
Yeah, he pulled a McAfee this morning for those are wondering out there. Yeah. I'm just going to call it a McAfee.
Well, see, sometimes Brooks forgets. He's on YouTube. He can say whatever he wants, okay?
Well, let me tell you, it was great this morning. It was your interview with Brooks Austin. By the way, Brooks Austin is fantastic.
Oh, he's awesome.
And he's a must-listen. But the morning show is a must-listen as well. And it's Brooks Austin, I'm telling you, he just brings it every single time. Scoreboard update for you before we take our first time out. The Chargers are leading it over the Argos, 42-34 with 3:47 to go. And quarter number 3, we may give you a little bonus action here from inside. Is this still the Field House? I think it's still called the Field House. Back in the day, this thing was called the Field House, but this thing has grown up a good bit here on the campus of West Florida.
They've got a heck of a football program already, man.
Yep. I mean, and half of them are in the portal right now.
Are they really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they'll probably end up being FCS before you know it. I don't want to, I don't want to disappoint the Gulf South.
So that's the first thing I noticed. With they repainted the floor. There is no GSC logo at all on the floor. Okay. So you make up your own mind.
Well, I will say this, Steve. If you dig enough and you're really good at these sound bites, there is a legendary sound bite for Rush Proach before they played Vestavia. And he said, "They hate you guts. They hate my guts."
I don't have that one handy.
No. I'll just let me finish. They hate you guts. They hate my guts. Go beat the piss out of them.
I was picking up a loose basketball. Thank you, John.
You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Remember, don't try this at home, kids. I am a professional.
Tuesday, December 16th, we want you to help us celebrate the holidays by helping the Marines Toys for Tots Foundation. All you have to do is bring an unwrapped toy to Field Day, located off of University Drive on Tuesday, December 16th.
Welcome to the party, pal!
We'll have food and live broadcasts of the Tom Abraham Show, plus The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton.
1 year membership in the Jelly of the Month Club.
Clark, that's the gift that keeps on giving the whole year.
That it is, Edward.
It's the perfect way to celebrate the holidays by helping the Marines Toys for Tots Foundation, presented by Talent Heating and Air. The party starts at 5 p.m.
Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas from 97.7 ESPN The Zone, Talent Heating and Air, and Toys for Tots. We'll see you on the 16th.
Look, Daddy, teacher says every time a bell rings, an angel gets his wings.
That's right. That's right.
It's an amazing time in our industry. Things are changing so rapidly. With digital signatures and workflow software, we help our customers work from anywhere. This helps you save time and money and upgrade your technology. Like I said, it's an amazing time to watch our customers grow and succeed.
Just ask anyone. The Lion Group.
Have you ever turned your back on God? Have you ever absolutely known the right thing to do and just turned around and walked away in disobedience? I know that I have. Aren't we thankful for our great and merciful God who loves us and forgives us and remembers our sin no more? I'm so thankful that his mercies are fresh every day. I need that, and I suspect you do too. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor of Cross Point Church, and if you're looking for a church home, come see us. We're smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison, and check us out at cpcfamily.org.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
A wise man once said, if you take care of old folks and children, everything in the middle will take care of itself.
Hi, I'm Danny Aldridge, lawyer in Alabama and Tennessee. In the next 20 years, the number of those folks over 65 years of age will more than double. In our golden years, the most important goal is to be treated with dignity and have control over doing what makes you grateful with those you love. At the Aldridge Law Firm and the Legal Town Center, we're dedicated to help you with these goals, and we'll be there when life throws you those inevitable curveballs. Let us assist you with your legal needs, whatever they may be or become. You may reach us by phone at 256-534-3188 or online with Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Just remember, we're here to help. Whether it's personal injury, wrongful death, fraud and cheat, or estate planning made complete, we're here to help.
Does it really matter which dealership you buy from? Short answer, yes it does. Hello, I'm Don Wessels for Woody Anderson Ford. Before you buy, take just a minute to check out the dealership itself, because where you buy can make all the difference. Sure, customer reviews tell you what others think, and that's good. But when Ford Motor Company itself recognizes a dealer, that's something special. Woody Anderson Ford has earned Ford's Triple Crown Award, an honor achieved by only the top 1% of Ford dealers in America. It's based on superior customer satisfaction, sales excellence, and exceptional service performance. In other words, the best of the best. So when you're ready for your next car, truck, or SUV, come see how we earned our Triple Crown status. Superior service, sales excellence, over-the-top delivery, that's Woody Anderson Ford. And we hope to see you soon.
The Blitz with Joe Hunk and John Abraham. Weekday morning starting at 9 a.m. on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Back here with you on the drive, along with Drew DeArmond. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me hit the post here. Okay. John Abraham, I appreciate you, sir. You've had a long day, and I appreciate you coming in to run the board as Brian Temple away on some business. So I appreciate you, John, in a big, big way. Of course, you can hear you can hear the Blitz with John and Joe when he's not throwing up from 9 to 11. Is that a little too? Is that a little too inside baseball for everybody right there? But
man.
Our boy Joe Hunk is sick more than he's healthy.
No, he wasn't throwing up. It
had me for about a month, man.
Sources close to me tell me that there was a portion of today's program where you were running the board and running a talk show all by yourself.
I was also taking phone calls as well. You can't leave that one out.
Other than that, this ought to be a piece of cake right here for you.
Yeah, I've just kind of been chilling.
You can listen to the Blitz from 9 to 11, and John will be there. I know John will be there.
Well,
into the third quarter, the Chargers lead at 46-40. So
I'll help in the first hour tomorrow until I have to go to the bus, bro. I mean, you know.
Well, you mentioned in the last segment about podcasts, and I know you listened to, what is this, the New Heights podcast. George Clooney said he's never had an argument with his wife. Well, he had a guest on, and his name was Travis Kelce.
Oh,
yeah,
my God. Here
You
we
claim
go.
that you and your wife haven't gotten in a fight in 10 years.
That's right.
Are you lying?
No, I'm not lying. Travis, shall we ask you the same questions?
Well, it's only been 2.5 years, and you're right. I haven't gotten in an argument. All right. Never once.
Honestly, neither of us are going to win the argument, so why get in it?
There we go. There you go.
There's some words of wisdom right there, but Travis Kelce, the non-married individual, says he's never had an argument with Taylor Swift. So we'll see whether or not that'll change after the vows are exchanged. there between. Are we going to get Taylor Kelsey? Is she going to change her name to Taylor Kelsey?
Of course not.
I just found a way to make Drew stop in his tracks right there.
Yeah.
Just no comment. I got nothing for you.
Well,
what are we talking about?
I
got nothing for you.
Hey, that was about as long a pause as when Scott asked me the first question on Monday about what's my opinion of Lane Kiffin.
I heard that too, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if you heard the commissioner today.
I did not.
But he was asked about whether or not there might be a discussion, especially SEC team to SEC team, whether or not you could self-contain a situation like this inside your own conference at least. Does that need to be discussed? Or, I mean, it's... I'm starting to think Ole Miss was just like, see ya. Bye, Felicia. See ya.
Of course they were. Hey, if you want to see some hilarity, I know you watch the McCready and Siskey podcast.
I do.
Just watch this week the off-air between A.J. McCarron and those two, and when they start bringing up the Lane train.
Oh, boy.
Siskey had to run off camera 3 times.
So is the only part that has changed for Lane Kiffin the fact that he does yoga?
Here's the best way for me to put it. I said it on my show, and I'll say it on this show. We're not going to get in any big trouble. It's just there's 2 things that he did. He's still the same guy. He just quit drinking and lost weight.
There you go.
But you still
Words of wisdom.
But you still spell it TURD.
Oh, wow. Alex Mortensen.
Yes, he got the job, son. He got
the new
job.
head coach. Good for him. That first win right out of the gate against Memphis was such a cool story.
Hey, man, and it just expands Nick Saban's coaching tree, man.
It does. It's wow. I mean,
and can I make another prediction? Might we see a very familiar name in his front office? He works for the Dogs. Hint, hint. Come on, Mort. Pull the trigger, bruh. He loves you.
Don't do that to me. Don't do that to me.
You know who I'm talking about. This dude is working his way up the ladder.
You're not talking. Who are you talking about? Tell me.
His initials are HN.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Yeah, you're hitting close to the belt there.
Yeah. Well,
come on now.
Come on now. You almost played there now. Come on. And
he is a valuable piece of the Georgia system right now.
He is. He watches 87 hours of film.
That's why I don't want him going anywhere.
Well, he needs to get a promotion for watching 87 hours of film.
I'm sure he's going to get a promotion, Drudy Armand.
I'm trying to get him a job right now.
No, I want him to stay put and get a bump up in the current tree he's in there in Athens. That's what I want.
Well,
you don't.
I'm just saying it's hard to move up in that organization.
Much like you did not want a certain Grissom grad to be wearing orange and blue.
Thank God.
I guess he is wearing orange and blue.
He's wearing the other kind. I'm happy with that.
See, I can't get on board with the Florida orange and blue. I really can't do that. I really can't do that.
I know, but I can.
I'm glad you can, but I texted him as much. Coach, I love you, but that's there are certain lines that do not cross.
And I got to say, I had a friend of mine in the media that said he wasn't blown away by John's press conference. And
what?
I thought,
Who?
I'm not going to say because I thought he was on Otis Campbell's moonshine.
I thought even that little shot at Lane right out of the gate in his opening, like the opening sentence or two, I thought it was fantastic.
Oh, I thought it was a grand slam. We got that water cooler, right outside our palatial studios here. And I go get some water, and I thought, damn, they got one over there, and they must have poured just a whole vat of moonshine in theirs.
You gotta be careful of that shine. It'll
even take your sight if it's really warped.
All righty, Chargers are up by 8. Come on, hit that. There you go. That's 3 in the corner there for Hollingsworth. Okay. The Chargers now lead it by 11. So I tell you what, let's take our final timeout. We'll give you some bonus coverage with myself and Scott Tyson on the other side. Jordy Arman, thank you, sir, for coming in. John Abraham, thank you for coming in. Very busy show with Corey Reamer, Barbara Dooley, Reese Davis, and appreciate everyone for listening as well. We'll have a little bonus coverage of Charger basketball leading up to the men in what is the tip-off of the GSE season. We'll be right back. Go ahead,
No,
Drew.
I just said, it's raining, but I won't be singing in the rain or have any moonshine. I promise you myself. I am sober.
We'll hear you tomorrow morning with Scott Tyson. I'll hear you as well.
Yeah,
in the room. I just hope I don't snore too loudly.
No, we're not gonna. We're gonna try not to wake you, man. We got a good lineup coming. We got Tom Brew talking Indiana, Ohio State from the Indiana perspective, because it is a huge game. We haven't talked a ton about it, and we got Brad Logan talking about how many lies Lane Kiffin told.
Wow, I don't think the show's long enough for that one.
No, I'm going to try to find that buzzer, from The Price is Right. We may try to hit that every time we say something.
Well, I know where you can find a ding.
Yeah.
Who do you think holds that key? Ding. Me.
Yeah. He holds the key to a state championship tomorrow against Linden.
Yes, he does. Let's take our final timeout. Charger basketball comes up next.
You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Remember, don't try this at home, kids. I am a professional.
Tuesday, December 16th. We want you to help us celebrate the holidays by helping the Marines Toys for Tots Foundation. All you have to do is bring an unwrapped toy to Field Day, located off of University Drive on Tuesday, December 16th.
Welcome to the party, pal!
We'll have food and live broadcasts of the Tom Abraham Show, plus The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton.
1 year membership in the Jelly of the Month Club.
Clark, that's the gift that keeps on giving the whole year.
That it is, Edward.
It's the perfect way to celebrate the holidays by helping the Marines Toys for Tots Foundation, presented by Talent Heating and Air. The party starts at 5 p.m.
Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas from 97.7 ESPN The Zone, Talent Heating and Air, and Toys for Tots. We'll see you on the 16th.
Look, Daddy, teacher says every time a bell rings, an angel gets his wings.
That's right. That's right.
Since 1983, Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate's Ann Adams has been your local go-to real estate expert in the area. As a buyer, you can trust Ann's in-depth knowledge of the local housing market to narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in, saving you time when shopping for a new home. When you're ready to sell, Ann's expert negotiation skills will ensure you get a fair price and hassle-free experience. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or email annadamsrise@gmail.com.
Hey folks, Don Wessels back again for Woody Anderson Ford. And let me tell you, if you've been thinking about a new Ford, now really is the best time to buy. It's the Ford year-end sales event, and we're rolling out some of the biggest savings of the year. Right now, drive home a 2025 F-150 with financing as low as 0% for 60 months. And make